Hi. It's been 225 years. I know. I know. I know. Hey, we here now, and that's what matters. Happy New Year. You see, this do-rag line has been on my forehead all day long. From this morning, do-rag line, hanging out. Hey, at this point, I took that thing off at 5 o'clock this morning. So you must really want to be there. So we just got to let you be there. got to let the do-rag line in. What is going on? What is going on? Whew. Happy New Year. Um, I'm glad to see all of you here. I'm glad that I'm still here. Made it through the holidays. It was an amazing time. I had so much fun. I was so tired. I ain't never been that tired before in my life. Like, I don't like this thing in my eyeball. Hold on. No, okay. You on my nerves. Um, but I had a really good time. For Christmas, my family came down. I got to have a party. Happy New Year, sugar butt. Um, yeah. Did you do something fun? We didn't do nothing. I mean, we did do something fun, but we didn't do nothing. Uh, yeah, we were just hanging out and stuff. But I remember, man. I remember. I used to get off of work on New Year's and be in the club. Baby, them days are gone, honey. Gone. Be in the club doing what? Well, I ain't gonna say that because my husband is about to have me in the club for his birthday. So there's that. Um, but yeah, it's good stuff's been happening. A lot of stuff's coming up for the year. I'm in the middle of my fast. Well, not in the middle. I'm kind of at the end of it. Um, at the end of my fast, doing a little year reset, getting myself together because I'm not together. Not back just as wide as all outside. But you know what? We still here. We still standing. We still strong. So I'm not that super concerned about it. I'm more just concerned about, getting. It's all, I've been at this for years at this point. So, and I cannot say that I've been at it, with uh, no work. Like I used to weigh like 280. So I'm definitely far from that at my 220 now. But it's a constant thing. Like it's not, it's got to be a lifestyle. And so, and I think that the thing that they don't talk about a lot when they talk about, you know, getting healthy and being healthy and all that is that it's the same thing like everything else. It's the same thing like food is an addiction, and it's not your fault that you're addicted because um, it's engineered that way. Like companies are spending billions of dollars to make you addicted to the food. So you being addicted to the food is not the issue. But you do have to realize that people are poisoning you, right? That they want you to be addicted. They want you to spend your money. And so that's what they're going to do. And with that, there comes the things, the shift in your brain that happens when addiction is in place. And I don't think that food addiction the gets the place in the rung as it should. I think because so many of us have food addictions or struggle with disordered eating and all those types of things that we don't. But I really think that like food addiction do not get the play that it should be getting. Like the stuff that they're doing to the food and the subsequent effects it has on your body and your brain and your mind, absolutely. And then they make it too expensive for you to, avoid it. To avoid they own everything. 8 companies make 225,000 products. So, it's just it's a big game, like a survival game when everybody's against you. So, do whatever you have to do. I'm definitely not one of those people that tell you to, go being in people's way in the gym, try to eat whatever you need to eat, do whatever you need to do, reset however many times it takes. Because nobody just does it. No one just takes out and does it. So, um, oh, okay, new camera. Did you get it for Christmas? Okay, new camera. I like new presents. Okay, so where are we? What are we doing? We're here. It's Wednesday. What is Wednesday? Wednesday is Ask Coach Catasha. What is Ask Coach Catasha? You say? I am your resident sexuality educator. Okay. I have been teaching sex ed. This will be in February, will be 12 years. It'll be 12 years in February. I started in 2014. I started unofficially before that, but that ain't your business. But my LLC was put into fruition in February of 2014. So I've been teaching sex ed for a really long time. So with that being said, I have quite a bit of experience. And this space is being opened up for you to take advantage of that resource and that experience. The scab fell off. Sorry, I'm distracted. Um, when I transfer my clothes from the washer to the dryer, I be throwing them in there, and my hand be. We got an old school dryer, but baby, that dryer. Listen, it's the dryer that I want. Okay, I paid $40 for that dryer, and it could dry this whole house before the washing machine even get done. But it's got a sharp edge on it, and it's getting on my nerves. Anyway, sorry, that's definitely the chism. Um, the so I'm a sex educator. I've been teaching sex ed for a really long time. I am here. I come here on Wednesdays to open up the floor for you to be able to have access to sexual health resources in a climate where sexual health resources, as well as many other social and economic and all other kinds of resources, educational resources, all other resources are also being cut. So, um, let's talk about how we do this. Okay. So, to be able to teach this on many of the platforms, there are rules that we have to abide by. There are built-in moderators already in the whatever system you're watching this on, whichever application you're watching this on. And they will mark out some of your words. Okay. I I am not putting those moderations in place. I want you to be able to ask your questions because I want you to be able to get the answers that you need. But those moderators are still going to flag your content. So if you have a question that's a little bit spicy, or that you feel like it has a trigger word in it, or if you ask me a question and you don't see that I'm answering it, that may be a question that it has thrown into the moderation and I don't get to see those. So just re-ask your question without the spicy words. I'm really good with my context clues. I can pretty much figure out what it is you're trying to ask. Now, with that being said, I want you to be able to ask all the questions that you want to ask, okay? Um, comma but I don't want your page to get taken down, okay? My page will be back. I always will be. No matter, even if they take it down, I'll be back. But I want you to be able, I can't say that for you. I don't know, you know, your situation. I only know mine. And so you have to ask your questions. I want you to put on your best Grey's Anatomy, house hat, and try to ask that question, even if it's a question that's not necessarily a medical situation. Think of how to ask it in a way that is looking for an educational answer, okay? And usually those questions will still make it through. So that's the best tip that I can give you. Again, I can't tell you what to say, what not to say, because like I said, I'll be back. I don't know about you, but I'll be back. So I'd have paid my dues. I'd have got my little strikes. I'd have put my account where it need to go. So, well, in most places. So I'm usually good. But I don't want your account to get blocked in a quest for your knowledge. So we can work together. If you have questions that you don't want attached to your username, please feel free to send it to our, you can send it to the inbox. You can email me in advance if you have questions that you don't want, um, that you're afraid to ask in the public forum like this. You can email me or drop them in any of my social media inboxes, and I will grab them and I will bring them back. Now, I'm not going to grab them until next week. So if you put them in there today, I'll bring them up next week. Um, but if you want to get an immediate answer, or you want to, or you have a question like right now, you can drop that question in the chat, and I will be happy to answer it for you. Now, let me give you the caveat. I don't care what you do. I kind of want you to do a little bit more, actually. So I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to pass, any kind of shame or any of that onto you. That is not my job. My job is to make sure that everybody here is legal, everybody's of legal age, and everybody's having fun. That's my job. So other than that, you on your own. But send me pictures. We didn't have a lot of sexual health questions in the inbox. I actually only had one, so I'll answer the one that I have. And then if you guys have any follow-up questions, or if somebody pops in and they have questions, feel free to ask whatever you want to ask. Or if you have questions about um, relationships, you have questions about your body, if you have questions about like your medical health, hysterectomies, erectile dysfunction, um, side effects to different medications, things like that, we can help. Okay. I want you to be able to know, I want you to be able to have a resource or have someone that you can reach out to get these inquiries set up. Now, I don't know everything. Okay. I do not know everything, but I'm real good at researching, and I have a lot of my own resources as well. So if I can't get you the answer now, I can always circle back. I can check with my supervisor, any of my other colleagues. There's almost, I have access to someone who does almost everything. Okay. Almost everything. And I say almost just because I don't know what's not out there, but there's all kinds of stuff that people do, and there's people have different niches of what they teach and things that are very specific about. There are people who teach specifically about menopause. There are people who teach specifically about bondage. There are people who teach specifically about leather and, all types of things, roping and fire play and exercising in BDSM and all types of things. And so there's a whole world out here that exists if you can open yourself up to that. Okay. So if I don't know, I'll be happy to bring the resource back to you. Other than that, we're going to answer the question we have. Hopefully, the person, because this has been like weeks ago. Listen, during the holidays, baby, we go away. My job calls it a winter nap. we also professionally and personally take a winter nap. So we don't work. We don't work around Christmas because it's time to be jolly. It ain't time to be at work, so we don't do that. We go on break with the kids because no. But yes. So questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, you can drop them in any of my social medias. Let me drop my link tree in the chat. I don't think we're gonna get in trouble today on TikTok. Sometimes we still do. I don't even know the part that gets me in trouble. But it's not long trouble, but I do still get in trouble. Sometimes they'll be like, you're done for 7 days, and then they'll let me back, and then, or they'll be like, you're done for 7 days, and then they'll let me do it on my phone, which I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm still getting my house back together, so my lighting is not back the way I want it, but we'll work all that out. Oh, I was supposed to be getting the link tree. Where are my links? Here we are. Sorry, this computer just got turned on, plugged up, and turned on today. So I'm here for y'all. Oh, you know what? I've been working on that. Working on the Windows. Ooh, excuse me, that was rude. That I'm not my copy and paste is different on my keyboard. Oh no, it's not letting me paste it in there. That happened to me once before too, though. Let me try it again. Now will it? Nope. Oh. Oh, yep. I got in trouble on TikTok again. But I didn't even do nothing this time. But it'll happen. I'll be back. So it won't let me paste my link tree in here. So I don't know. Um. Oh, let me try that. Ah, there we go. User error. My bad. But yes. Okay. So we got one question that was sent to the inbox a couple weeks ago, and that was a pretty simple question. It was someone asking, "Ooh, you know what? I didn't transfer it over, but it was just a small question, so I'll just type it in there." Um, okay. Ooh, where's the part I put? I put user question. Okay. Okay. And so the question that I had that was sent into my inbox was, is BV a sexually transmitted disease? And BV, for those who don't know, is bacterial vaginosis. Um, and so, okay, yes and no. Okay. Um, you would not contract BV from a partner, because BV is not a virus per se, or an like an infection or a bacteria. It is bacteria, but it's the bacteria that you already have in your body. So the difference between bacterial vaginosis and traditional, what you would think of as STIs, is that bacterial vaginosis is just a shift in the bacteria in the vagina. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but your one of the main bacteria in your vagina is lactobacilli, and I'm pretty sure that's not how you say it, but I'm country, so that's how you're gonna have to hear it. But that's what it's called, and that bacteria is the main bacteria in your vaginal microbiome. Okay, there's other bacteria in there as well, but that lactobacilli is the primary bacteria, and it has different strains, but that is the primary bacteria. That bacteria is a what's called a facultative, one of them words, anaerobe. Okay, so what that means is that it can reproduce in two ways. It can reproduce in an oxygen setting, and in an oxygen setting. But if it is without oxygen, it reproduces by fermentation. Okay, and so what happens during BV is that your lactobacilli goes low. That bacteria goes low because that is the bacteria that keeps the vaginal microbiome at its harmony. If that bacterial count changes or varies in any way, the other bacteria in the vagina have the opportunity to take over. And so that's essentially what BV is. It is the taking over of another bacteria in the vagina versus the one that usually keeps it in um, homeostasis. Yes. Okay. That usually keeps it in homeostasis. Okay. So, with that being said, your BV is just a disruption in the bacteria that's present in the vagina. Okay. But you can get that knock off of that bacteria can happen from an introduction of other bacteria into the vagina. So it's not that it's something that somebody picked up as a sexually transmitted disease. It's just a mixture of different bacteria that can throw off that microbiome. So, no, you cannot get it from having sex with another person, but yes, that person's bacteria that they're introducing into your vaginal microbiome could spark bacterial vaginosis. It could throw off the the you know perfect little environment that you have. And the vagina is a perfect, it is made to be a perfect environment. It's self-cleaning. It is supposed to, the bacteria that's there is supposed to keep things in order. It also is supposed to help to um, uh, get rid of rogue bacteria. So if some type of bacteria is introduced, the acidity and the way that it's set up, the body is set up, it can fight that off. Like, it has its own little environment, the same as the mouth. So it has its own little environment, and that environment can be very sensitive. It can be a very sensitive environment. And so it doesn't even necessarily have to be a sexually transmitted thing. It could be you're having a reaction to your detergent, or you're not allowing your body enough room to breathe, and that bacteria that you need is being suffocated, and it's not getting the oxygen that it needs because lactobacilli thrives on oxygen. And if it is without that oxygen, then it replicates by fermentation. So it ferments, which is the reason why you have that fishy odor that comes along with bacterial vaginosis. That other bacteria that grows, that takes over, is throwing it off. And that's where that odor comes from. So you have all these different things that are happening in the body. And although it can be triggered by a sexual experience, it is not necessarily an STI, because a sexually transmitted infection is an infection that's passed from one person to another. And essentially, what would be happening if you were getting BV would be an introduction of rogue bacteria into your environment. Now, with that being said, if you are in a monogamous relationship and you are continuously getting BV, that may be a telltale sign that somebody else's bacteria is getting regularly introduced into your body. Okay. Now, as far as your partner goes, your body usually learns your partner. Okay. The person that you pick may not like it or whatever, but if you pick good, if you pick with your mammalian senses, if you let your pheromones do the work and you pick with your mammalian senses, um, your body is gonna pick the person that it likes. The person that it's the scent that it likes, the pheromones that that person gives off. Your body picks that person, and it starts to move and meld around that person. The acidity and alkalinity of the vagina and the penis is very different, but it works out. It works out the way it needs to work out because the body is made to adapt. Um, but if someone is introducing another vaginal microbiome into your vaginal microbiome, absolutely. And it's also more prevalent for um, uh, lesbian relationships because you are essentially, moving into vaginal microbiome. So you have one vaginal makeup over here, you have one vaginal makeup over here, and both of those put together do not mesh. Like you have your own based on your body's needs, and the other person has their own. And so once you mix those two microbiomes, vaginal microbiomes together, they don't always meld. And so you do have to take extra precautions if you are in a relationship where there are two vulvas involved, to make sure that you are still being healthy. And it doesn't mean that you cannot, do the things that you want to do. It's just saying that you have to be extra careful. It's just the same way as kissing. They tell you that cavities are contagious if you are kissing. If your partner has terrible oral health and you're kissing that partner, it's the cavities are contagious. It's the same thing. That your vaginal microbiome is made for you, and theirs is made for them. And so sometimes if you are having other things introduced, it will trigger BV. And I'm not telling you to go through your man phone. I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it. What I am saying is that it is a possibility that if someone is bringing other bacteria back to you, that your vagina would have a reaction to that. Absolutely. Um, so, not again, I'm not saying definitely go through all the stuff before you make that accusation. Make sure you haven't changed the stuff recently, and like sometimes it's not even about changing the stuff. Products are changing. So something that used to be good for you before may not work the same way now. They may have added some filler stuff. There may be some other ingredients in there that just don't sit right with your body. And although it's not common for men to have bacterial vaginosis, um, they can absolutely have a reaction to the mixture of the bacteria as well. So depending on how well the hygiene and stuff is, and all the other factors, you can definitely have a reaction to it as well. Now, of course, you're not going to have a fishy odor because you don't have lactobacilli and all that stuff. But, well, you may have a fishy odor if you are moving those two between and it's not coming from you, it's coming like on you, that you could have a reaction. And there are other things that can cause that as well. So I'm just saying, before you start, since you asking is BV a sexually transmitted infection or disease, I'm asking, have you done all the things first to make sure that it's not your partner? Okay. Check the ingredients on the things that you're putting down there. Make sure that you are not wearing, tight underwear all the time. Let that thing breathe sometimes. Night is a great time. Just as your body is healing and doing all the things that it needs to do, you don't need to have that cooped up, cooped and popped up in there. So give yourself some room. And the same thing for men, even though you can't get BV, you can absolutely still get infections, you can get rashes, you can get other types of things by jock itch, by the bacteria, because you also have a microbiome down there. That's how you get jock itch. When that microbiome breaks up, that yeast, that skin, that the yeast that lives on your skin can overgrow and cause irritation. So, jock itch is pretty much just like a yeast infection. It's a yeast infection for boys. Because it's just the bacteria, except the bacteria for the vulva is inside the body, whereas on the penis and on the legs and everywhere it would be, all those warm places, that is just the bacteria that lives on your skin being out of control. So absolutely make sure you're taking the time to let it breathe. I'm not telling you not to wear your hoochie daddy shorts and not to wear, your coochie cutters and all of that, but just not all the time. And also, don't always put all those synthetic fibers up against your body. I know that you think that, people are making it, and so it's got to be good for you because people are making the stuff, but like they don't care what's in those clothes. They don't care about what you're putting up against your body. Have you ever done the research on toxic shock syndrome? It's nuts. Okay, so like the stuff, the chemicals they were putting in that stuff and doing all like before, because at that time menstrual products were not regulated, so you could just put whatever, you can do whatever, like pretty much you can do that now. They have some regulations, but like back then you could do whatever, they was putting whatever in there. So like they're not making those brand clothes with your body in mind. I saw someone on a thread talking about a popular pair of men's underwear that was making men sour down there. And some of that stuff is not wicking away moisture, which is what your underwear is supposed to do. Your underwear is supposed to wick the moisture away from your body. And so if you are wearing material that's not moisture wicking, you're creating a problem, and that's not what we want to do. So make sure you're wearing cotton, get you some big old drawers, get you some tidy whities. It's also good like for if you have testicles. They said that some of those things are like endocrine disruptors. Like it can mess with your testosterone, it can lower the quality of your sperm. Some of those clothes like polyester, 100% polyester, things like that, they did research on those and shown that like it had a negative effect on more than just like the outside of the body, like that it was causing disruptions inside. So, and again, that's not saying that you can't just, wear it one off or want to be sexy or whatever, but you can't make your whole lifestyle these plastics and fabrics and things like that are not good for the body. Okay, so make sure you're letting it breathe. Make sure you are washing. Make sure you are washing. Okay, even if you are okay. So let me I'm gonna put my auntie hat on. Okay, even if you are out here cheating, you still need to be washing. There's no reason that you should be getting caught because you being dirty and bringing it back to your partner. I'm not trying to tell you to cheat. I'm just saying wash wash it. Wash it off. Okay? Um I'm concerned with the hygiene practices that I've been seeing socially. And it's making me very concerned because as a sex educator, I look at everything under a sexual lens. And so I'm like, are y'all having sex with these bodies? Like, are y'all engaging in intimate activity and not washing? Y'all going to the gym, you going to work, you getting stressed, you fighting in traffic, you sweating because you ain't got no air conditioning in your cutlass, and then you going and having sex with that body? Yeah, I don't do that. Okay, just auntie is telling you, don't do that. It is nothing to wash it off, and most people have a very heightened sense of smell when they're aroused, and so if you are going in there funky, you are missing a prime opportunity to increase the arousal rate of your partner just by simply having a pleasant smell. You're missing a prime opportunity for foreplay by simply being clean. So I know that, they get on here and tell you that washcloths are for poor people and, who's washing their legs and all this stuff. No. Okay? No. The expectation that coach has for you is that wash it before and then wash it again when you're done. That's your body. That's your body. We You don't have to wear nobody else's body because that, like, I think they said like 70-80% of dust is skin. Like, we're shedding skin and cells all day. So you bumping and humping and grumping up on somebody and then leaving and just wearing all the dirt and sweat and them being stuck in the car in a Nissan Altima, 1999 Nissan Altima with no air in it. And now they, like, all of that dirt and sludge and all that stuff is on you. Like, no. You take a shower, do what you gotta do, and take another one. I didn't mean to look like that. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't want you doing that. That's a bad example. And I'm working on like I'm working on a class for hygiene for sexually active adults. I realize that this is not something that a lot of people had access to. I remember my husband saying he learned it from like a Snoop song, like something Snoop, one of the songs he was like, all the things you're supposed to do. And so I thought, well, maybe I should make that. So that's what I'm doing. I am currently making hygiene for sexually active adults. And this is a class that is pivoted around pleasure, but also around, I don't want to say cleanliness because that seems like, but like, making the most of the experience, right? Because the thing about it is that a lot of times you only got one shot, right? Many times you only got one shot. And if you waste that shot being lazy and, just washing that little thing in the sink, you could potentially mess up a chance for a redo or, to get a round two or any of that. So, and also that's just also something people should know. You should know how to care for your body as a sexually active individual. And that's not something that people talk about because people don't talk about sex. And so, and then as I'm listening to people talk about washing and cleanliness and, taking care of your body, I'm realizing that obviously they're not talking about that either. Nobody's talking about nothing. Everybody's just watching the Disney Channel having the time of their lives. Nobody's talking about how to wash it. Nobody's talking about how to use it. Nobody's talking about nothing. So I'm working on it. I'm always working on something. That book is still not done. I just want to let y'all know. Not only is it not done, I've started on another one because I'm nuts. So I'm working on it. Yeah, she said, no, that face is fine. I get it. People most definitely don't have a close relationship with soap and water. I'm with you. Y'all having sex with that body for real. Yeah, like, but I'm just going to chalk it up to nobody's ever had that conversation with you about what you should do, how you should care for yourself, especially for the type of sexual activity that you want to have. Because I'm frequently hearing that there are requests that are coming through that do not have the hygiene behind them. So I'm gonna get it together. And then it's gonna be up to y'all to send it to who it needs to be sent to. Okay. And it's gonna be a bunch of different parts. I'm like trying to do how they tell you I'm taking this class on like how to. So I'm gonna try to do it. I have no desire to be an influencer. Like, that's not. I don't even want. If we not on here talking about sex, I don't want to be on here with y'all. I got other stuff to be doing. So I'm not interested in coming on here and talking about get ready with me and none of that. Leave me alone. But if we here talking about sex, baby, I can be here all day. But if we not, I don't want to be here with y'all. I go play with my husband all day. But I am gonna put like I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna break it out like they tell me to. I've been taking all these LinkedIn courses and stuff and trying to figure it out. And so hopefully, I really do just, and I'm only doing that because I want it to get out, right? Oh, it's girl, that is bad enough. The dating pools got piss and poop in it, so at least bathe. Jeesh, man. I get so annoyed when females say they don't wash their vulva because they don't know the vagina is its own part of the vulva. Absolutely. And the thing is that you need to be washing that vulva. The vagina can clean its own self out. At least it's supposed to. But that vulva is where okay, so let's talk a little bit about vulvas, okay? Just a little bit. And not necessarily vulvas, but like what is the purpose of that area and the hair and all those things, right? So one of the things that happens when you get puberty, when you go through puberty, puberty when you go through puberty, is that hair starts to grow. Okay, that's not something that happens before. It happens when your hormones ramp up and it kicks in. Okay, so once that hair starts to grow down there, one of its jobs is to keep bacteria and things out. It also one of its jobs is to wick moisture away from the body. Another one of its jobs is to decrease friction during activity. But one of its main jobs, and one of the jobs that it has that we don't really pay a lot of attention to, is it is one of your primary pheromone distributors. Okay, so on in your mammalian self, who you are as a mammal, right? Because we're all a part of an ecosystem, and as a mammal, some of the things that your body does is not something you have control over. And so one of those things it does is that it picks out pheromones. And if you've been in relationships before, or if you have um an extensive dating history, you know the person that you liked how they smelled. Okay, there's somebody, and if you have not had that yet, that it's going to happen to you. You're going to run into someone that you like their natural scent, not the cologne, any of that. It is their natural. You want to be in their armpits, you want to sniff their necks, like you just want to smell them because of, you don't know why. You just like the way they smell. That is actually your pheromones communicating, both of your pheromones communicating with each other. And so you can the pheromone predictor is a pretty good predictor. But here's the kicker about that. If you're on birth control, it disrupts that process. It disrupts the process of your pheromones and being able to sniff that out, and like, you know, that raw process. Birth control disrupts that. But if you are not on birth control, you will definitely encounter partners that you enjoy the way they smell, right? And one of those distributors of those pheromones is going to be your pelvic hair. It's your underarms. It comes out of your underarms as well. It comes out of your hair. But your underarms and that's why you get musty, that bacteria under there, and it mixed with all that stuff. But that's a pheromone emitter, and the hair that you have down there is a pheromone emitter. And so it is important that you clean that area because it is there collecting dust. It's there collecting dirt and pieces of tissue from you wiping and all other kinds of things that are, making their way downtown, right? And so it's important that you are cleaning that area because it's literally a lint trap. It's there to pick up dead skin and scabs and sebum and all kinds of stuff. So wash it, absolutely. Um, okay, when I figure out how to word my question I have for you, I'll get back to you. I've been having mental glitches all day. It's fine. I'll be right here. If I ain't here today, I'll be back next week. Like they say they don't put any type of soap down there. I'm looking like, oh yeah. Yeah. And so some people are sensitive, but they have soaps for that. I absolutely believe you should be using soap down there. Maybe not. Okay, not near, of course, the hole and all that. You don't need it in the vagina, but to clean your vulva, I do think you should use soap and water, only because you have pores down there. And those pores can get filled up with the same way the gunk in the stuff that you're secreting, the animals that live on your body are eating and pooping your so you're building up things in the pores down there. If you are not getting that exfoliated, if it's not being washed on a regular basis, if you're not, like, kind of getting in there and getting some of that up, those pores can become clogged. You can get pimples, you can get ingrown hairs. I see some of those esthetician videos where they find a little bump and they pull this 35-foot hair out of there. That can absolutely happen. So definitely use soap and water to break up that soap, to break up that sebum and the gunk. It does not have to be a harsh soap. They have, whatever type of soap you need, it's available. If you want natural soaps, if you whatever you need, it's available. But definitely be using soap and water to clean your parts. And it's not just that front part. We need to pay some attention to that back part too. Okay? Because the bacteria that comes from the waste from your body has one of the easiest entrance paths into your body because the holes are so close. So, and also just because, you have, if you have a buildup of gunk back there, it's a warm, moist area. So you have a higher chance of having bacteria growing out of control, skin chafing, itching, burning, all types of things. Like, it's just clean the whole thing, y'all. Just clean it. So I'm putting it together. Hopefully, hopefully it'll get some traction. Because I do want people to know. That's my most important thing, is that, like, people need to know this information, and there's nowhere really for you to know that now, right? Like, who's telling you that? Who's telling you how to get ready for, like, a little late night call, or, you know, what if it's really important to you? What if this is like, you and your long distance boo are getting together, and what kind of maintenance should you be doing? And this is definitely not shared with men as frequently as it's shared with women, because we don't talk to young boys about sexual hygiene, and we don't talk to them about, and we don't talk to young girls either, but there's an expectation that girls are supposed to figure it out. Like, you need to figure out how to clean it, you need to figure out what to do with it, you need to figure it out. But that expectation is not necessarily set for our young boys, and they're not going out into the adult world with the best hygiene tips. So, and then you don't know where people come from. You don't know people's background. People didn't always have loving parents. Some people grew up in trauma. Some people grew up in addiction. Some people grew up homeless. Some people grew up, in the state system. So there are a lot of different reasons why people don't know. Um, I'm not necessarily concerned with that. We will help you figure it out. But I'm not okay with the people who are, washcloths are for the poor, and who even does that, and like that kind of thing. I'm not here for that. Because that's a conversation that is telling you that you are not important enough to care for. And I will never support a narrative that says that you are getting too much care. You are caring about yourself too much. No, I will never push that. So, it's important to make sure that you are bringing your best self forward when it comes to showing up in those scenes and showing up in those spaces, and that also that you're not getting negative feedback when you may not understand where that's coming from. And there are also, this not necessarily just a man thing. There are women who also have no idea how to care for their bodies and care for their vulvas and, care for their vaginas. There's, people are still wiping back the front. People just don't know. Like, they don't know. So, um, there's a lot of conversations to be had, and I'm here to have them. So, hopefully, I can help. If if it means anything, I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm gonna do the best I can. All right. Well, that was the only question that I had. T, if you don't think about your question, you can send it to me and I'll bring it back, or you can just bring it back next Wednesday and we can talk about it then. Um, I will be having some new stuff coming up. I'm trying to get my new schedule together. I don't know what that's gonna look like though, because I want to go to the library. I want to work out. I want to do all this stuff. I don't have all those minutes. I don't know where I'm supposed to get all these minutes from, but I'm gonna try to figure them out. I'm gonna try to figure it out. Try to get some stuff done. Have some stuff for you, some new stuff for you coming up shortly. A couple of new books. Um, some classes. I'm working on like 2 different classes. We shall see. So, with that being said, I appreciate you for sending me your questions. If you have questions in the future that you would like to get addressed live, I will be happy to do that. You can show up any Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I will be here. If you do not want your question answered live, if you would like to just send it to me and I can come back, I will bring it back to the chat because someone else may have the same question, but it won't be attached to you. I won't. It'll be an anonymous question, and I can bring it back to the chat, and we can talk about it without your name being associated with it. So we can do that as well. You can send it to expressionofrepression@gmail.com. You can go to my website, expressionofrepression.com. You can send it to any of my social medias. You can put in Coach Catasha in any of the social medias, and I should pop up if I'm there. So, and I will be happy to answer whatever questions you have. That's what I'm here for. All right. All right. I'm on the tail end of a fast. I am hungry. Um, I think it's just because I'm getting close. You know how when you gotta pee and you like the bathroom is like close and you start like wiggling like, oh god. I think it's kind of like that because like I've been fine this whole time. I haven't eaten in 3 days. Um, but ready to reset, ready for the new year. I'm wishing you all the best. You and your family. I wish you a successful and highly productive and kinky 2026. I wish that for you. All right. I will